Hello, my name is Chuck Ellis and I'm going to be your host today. I love Western Australia and I think we can all agree whether you were born here, whether you've moved here from somewhere else, Western Australia is a beautiful state. And we're going to talk about one of the ways that we promote the beauty of Western Australia through the Tidy Towns, Sustainable Cities and Clean Beaches Awards. Joining us today are Gillian Lamont, President of the Guilderton Community Association.
Hello,
Gillian.
Chuck.
Ryan Wilson, Sustainability Officer with the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. Welcome,
Hi.
Ryan. Greg Warburton, President of the Toodyay Tidy Towns Committee. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you.
And Tidy Towns Judge, Linley Brown.
Hi.
At the National Awards ceremony last year, Guilderton was announced as Australia's cleanest beach. Kalgoorlie-Boulder won the Australian Sustainable Cities title for heritage and culture and was highly commended for environmental sustainability. And Toodyay was announced as Australia's tidiest town. Ryan, Kalgoorlie-Boulder is a hot, dry place with a famous pipeline. What does that mean for a city that relies on a pipeline for all its scheme water?
Well, you're right, yeah. All of our water, drinking water, comes straight from Perth, 600 k's of pipeline all the way out to Kalgoorlie. So that has some pretty significant implications for Kalgoorlie-Boulder. It means we pay quite a lot more for water, and it means that we've really got to try and conserve it. So we do a great job with reuse of water. We have a recycling plant, water recycling plant, and we use treated effluent for all of our parks and reserves in town. And generally just, yeah, it's a high priority for us to make sure that we conserve water as best we can. So. And
it makes you be very innovative, it sounds like.
That's right, yeah. So we were just awarded the Water Corps Waterwise Council accreditation in 2014, and yeah, we've done some good things in that realm. The latest one, we've just switched our administration building to treated effluent as well, so all of our irrigation there is now recycled water. So.
Sounds interesting. Gillian, what was it like to bring back to Guilderton the title of Australia's cleanest beach?
Absolutely amazing. As a tiny community of less than 150 inhabitants or residents, we were up against Bondi Beach and Burleigh Heads, and we decided we'd just make the most of the occasion, enjoy ourselves, and it's unbelievable even today that we came back with the win.
And it just shows you, regardless of the size of your community, you should have a go.
Absolutely.
Good. Linley, you've been a Tidy Towns regional and state judge since 2012. Do you find is the state getting tidier?
Look, it definitely is getting tidier. Guilderton are a prime example of how they've won the Clean Beaches Award. We know that there has been a 27% drop in littering in WA in the last 5 years, and we can see that. And we know that these three programs have contributed to that.
Excellent, excellent. So everyone's doing their part and it's having an effect.
Yeah, and we know behaviour breeds behaviour, so those people that are jumping on board, reducing their litter and taking part in these projects, they're actually inspiring others to also do the same thing.
And that's one of the benefits with entering these awards, regardless whether you're a finalist or you win the national award, it does bring the community together, doesn't it?
Definitely. Effective community partnerships are really key to these programs in Tidy Towns.
And speaking about a community that really came together around these awards, WA was very successful at last year's national awards. Greg, I believe Toodyay will be hosting the 2016 Australian Tidy Towns Awards. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you're quite right there, Chuck. Coming up in March, 17th and 18th of March, we'll be hosting the National Tidy Towns Award event in Toodyay. It's a great opportunity, not only for Toodyay, but of course for the state as well. But it's not often a little rural community gets to put itself on the national stage and have the spotlight shone on it. So we're really looking forward to inviting the national delegates and showing off our little part of the world, and particularly our tidy towns and sustainability projects.
And again, you were up against some stiff competition from the eastern states, but brought the award home to Western Australia.
Yes, indeed. It was a night of nights. I certainly won't forget it. It was I suppose, the pinnacle of my community life. We were absolutely delighted and a very, very proud moment indeed.
And you find it brings the community together, doesn't it?
Indeed it does. Tidy Towns has brought Toodyay together as a community like nothing else before, I believe. And all our programs have been partnerships and inclusive as possible. Particularly our Adopt a Spot program, and we've brought all those community groups together for a common goal.
Now, Tidy Towns, Sustainable Cities, and the Clean Beaches Awards recognize projects that enhance and look after the community's assets and surrounding environment. They focus on community involvement in projects such as recycling, litter prevention, water conservation. Communities may also work on projects that celebrate their cultural heritage, enhance or protect their natural environment. You can enter any number of awards categories, and it's easy to enter. Projects can be new initiatives, or they can be the upkeep of an existing project. Tidy Towns is now in its 47th year. Judges assess the Tidy Towns submissions from state finalists, and then an overall state winner is announced at a special event. That winner has the honor of representing Western Australia at the National Awards, and for 2016, that honor is currently with Albany. There are no state awards or award ceremonies for clean beaches and sustainable cities, but we're calling for submissions so that we can select and nominate our best. Now, who should enter? Well, if yours is a regional community of any size, enter the Tidy Towns competition. If you've got a nice little beach and you're looking after it, enter the clean beaches too. And for towns that have a river or a lake, like say West Arthur, by all means, enter the Clean Beaches Awards. Yes, we want you to nominate. The important thing here is to have a go, because as we've heard already today, it helps bring the community together regardless of whether you wind up being a finalist or a national award winner. There's benefits all around for your community. So if you're a metropolitan or a regional city, why not represent Western Australia in the Australian Sustainable Cities Awards? Now, even though they're completely separate awards, the categories are the same for Tidy Towns, Sustainable Cities, and Clean Beaches. Those categories are Community Action and Well-Being, Heritage and Culture, Litter and Waste Management, Young Legends, Environmental Sustainability, and Environmental Education. The Keep Australia Beautiful Awards aren't just about litter prevention. Don't take my word for it. Let's listen to two entrants talk about the scope of the awards.
It makes us look to the future. When it was just having a tidy town, everybody rushed around and tidied up, and that was great. But then everybody breathed a sigh of relief when it was over. But now we have to think about more things like water conservation and energy innovation and cultural and natural heritage conservation. And so it's a much more long-term thing, and I think it's got people thinking.
Tidy Towns is more than just having a tidy town. We now look at a whole range of different things that we do in our community and put that together in a package that really shows the pride that we have in our community. So whether that's energy efficiencies, whether that's recycling water, whether that's capturing more water, our environmental protection that we do, plus having a tidy town.
Thank you, Priscilla and Michelle. Let's talk about community action and well-being. This award recognizes the achievements of a community in creating a healthy, vibrant community that's actively engaged groups from all sectors. Linley, why is it important to engage everyone in a community project?
Well, everyone in the community really needs to be involved for a sense of collaboration and inclusion. If we get primary school kids involved, we get people that are retired involved, our church groups, our Rotary clubs, businesses and industries, then we know that our projects are going to be effective. We know that outcomes are going to be a positive, and we're really going to be working towards a sustainable, litter-free future.
Fantastic. Gillian, Guilderton's disabled facilities impressed the National Clean Beaches judge. Can you tell us about them?
This is very recent. This was a 2015 edition, and what we were trying to do was to get the disabled to the beach, and the idea was the Guilderton Community Association. We approached the Bendigo Bank, who came on board very readily with funding. The Shah partnershiped the project, and we had a boardwalk built down onto the beach, but we had a marvellous viewing platform, so that the disabled could actually get out onto that viewing platform and have a bird's eye view of Australia's cleanest beach. We also now have disabled access only this year onto the river foreshore, and the disabled can get right down onto the jetty and they can fish from the jetty. So they're two very new additions which have really helped the disabled.
A very inclusive beach environment you have there for your community.
It is, yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Greg, Toodyay always wows the state judges with a great welcome by a large number of interested community members. How do you get everyone to take part?
Toodyay is a very community-minded place, as I mentioned. We have over 50 community groups there. Everyone is very busy doing a whole range of things. So initially, actually, it was a bit hard to get people involved with it because they thought, oh, there's one more committee, I don't think I've got the time. But once we got our Toodyay Tidy Towns Committee formed and started ticking a few boxes, people in the community recognised the value of it, and just about every community group comes under a Tidy Towns and Sustainability umbrella, whether it's a sporting group, a craft group. Everyone can contribute to an overall Tidy Towns program and effort.
So you find once you get the ball rolling, it sort of sounds like it developed a life of its own in Toodyay.
It does indeed, yes. That's a good analogy, Chuck. It got up and running, and the momentum is there, and I think there's no stopping it, actually. So that's why Tidy Towns is so good, because it is so inclusive. Any group can participate.
Ryan, Kalgoorlie-Boulder showed strong collaboration with the Kalgoorlie-Boulder Urban Land Care Group. How do you think the Kalgoorlie-Boulder Urban Land Care Group contributes to the well-being of residents in your city?
Yeah, look, I think KBOG plays an immensely important role in the community in Kalgoorlie-Boulder. They do a fantastic job with education. They work with schools. They do native tree planting. They do an annual tree planting day, and they have an annual tidy up day. So yeah, they're constantly working to create a cleaner and better and more sustainable community, and it was fantastic working with them on sustainable cities and tidy towns. They were a pivotal part of our application and part of the process. So yeah, they do really great things, and it's fantastic to have an organisation like that in the community.
Thanks, Ryan. That sounds great, what's happening in Kalgoorlie-Boulder. Tidy Towns strengthens community ties, and one of the big supporters of Tidy Towns is the Minister for Environment and Heritage, Albert Jacob. Let's hear from Minister Jacob now.
Communities all the way in the north from Kalumbaroo down to the south in Denmark, a distance of almost 2,500 kilometres between them, have been involved in the Tidy Towns program and have found it to be both a motivating and a rewarding experience. Community ties between local governments, between businesses and schools, and also volunteers have helped to create sustainable and also vibrant communities. As you've already heard today, communities are addressing local environmental issues and also working together, each individual community making their own regional town a great place to live. And the volunteers, who are the lifeblood of these programs, are absolutely commended for their involvement and their commitment to making a difference, as well as to sharing the passion that they have for the place that they call home. Nationally, it's estimated that each year the Tidy Towns movement involves more than 90,000 individual volunteers, contributing many millions of dollars worth of unpaid labour towards much needed initiatives in regional Australia.
I think all entrants would agree that whether you win or not, your effort's not wasted, and we've heard some great examples about that today so far. Greg, you'd be familiar with Beth Frame. Let's hear from her.
The most critical things, I think, is bringing groups together that may not talk to each other very much, but through Tidy Towns, by being a supporter of Tidy Towns and receiving the newsletter, that they get to learn more about what other groups in Toodyay are doing. You know, the sports groups know what the environmental groups are doing and that sort of thing. So I met a lot more people in town than I would have otherwise done.
Now, the benefits of entering the Tidy Towns Awards can linger long after you've put in your award submission, and Aboriginal communities have done very well in the awards. Let's hear from Dean Gooda about this.
Look, we were nominated because we're proud of our community, and Tidy Towns in Aboriginal communities has got a bit of a status, and previous winners proudly display their titles, and it is a community status. And people are proud of their communities, and they do a lot of effort to keep it clean, tidy, and a nice place to live.
Thank you, Dean. Let's hear some more about Aboriginal communities and their participation in these awards, and go to the Imaging community.
like to be recognized for these actions through the Tidy Towns program. We thank everyone who helped in winning this award.
Great to see a fantastic example there of an Aboriginal community taking part in the Tidy Towns Awards. Let's talk about heritage and culture. This category recognizes a community's outstanding commitment to conservation and celebration of a community's Indigenous and non-Indigenous heritage and culture. Ryan, at the Australian Sustainable Cities event, Kalgoorlie-Boulder won the highest accolade for heritage and culture. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. So again, this was something that that we won on the back of some hard work that KBOG does in the community, as well as stuff that the city does with their heritage and culture unit. KBOG works with Aboriginal guides from the area and do the Karkoola Dreaming Cultural Trail. They lead guided tours through Karkoola Park, which is a natural bushland park in Kalgoorlie. And I think the city does a fantastic job with their Heritage and Archives unit. Their staff there are fantastic. They're extremely knowledgeable, and they have an office at the Kalgoorlie Town Hall where they've got an array of archives and information on the history of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. It's really inspiring to see. So.
Again, another fantastic example of how these awards are bringing communities together.
That's right. And it was a great way for us to showcase the hard work that we're doing as well. So.
Greg, Toodyay is well known for its heritage buildings and convict past. Now, I believe you impressed the Tidy Towns judge by dressing and appearing in character for this role.
Yes, indeed, Chuck. You heard about that one, did you?
I did. We have our sources. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Toodyay does have a very rich history, and we like to relive that history from time to time. We have a very famous festival every year in Toodyay called the Moondine Festival, which celebrates the life and times of a bushranger, for the want of a better word, known as Moondine Joe. So in order to participate in that event, I made an authentic convict uniform, complete with ball and chain, and we made an impromptu visit when the Tidy Towns judge was there, and I think she was quite impressed with that. But our heritage and our historical buildings are very valued by the community. It's one of the reasons visitors come to Toodyay to learn about the history. It's one of the earliest settlements in Western Australia, being founded in 1836, and we have quite a story to tell, and it's so important that this culture and heritage is preserved and made accessible for the public to learn about. Because if we don't learn from our history, we're losing a lot. So we're very proud of the way we preserve and promote our history, and we hope not only visitors but the residents can enjoy and learn from it as well.
And back to your performance on the day and your costume, what impact do you think having a bit of fun helps with an award submission?
It's absolutely essential, yes. It's so important that people that are participating in Tidy Towns, even though it might seem like a lot of work, it shouldn't necessarily be onerous. They can bring the community together and have some great social events. You forge new friendships and associations. And in fact, you feel like you're part of a Tidy Towns family, not only for your immediate community, but right across the nation. You get to know people that are working hard on projects in terms of Tidy Towns. And so, yeah, for Toodyay at least, there was a lot of fun to be had, and we enjoy celebrating our Tidy Towns work. The satisfaction that you get after a job well done, and the bond you feel with those participants is really makes it worthwhile.
Fantastic, and that pride of everyone coming together. Now, Gillian, I've heard about an interesting program that you have with your Clean Beaches Award. That's the Catch, Cook and Yarn project. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, I can. I didn't personally attend that. It was a very early start, and I'm not a fisherwoman, but it was just a very relaxed session where the Indigenous showed us how they go about fishing. They had a lovely barbecue and just a lovely talk between the residents and the Indigenous. In Guilderton, we actually have a very, very strong connection with the local Yuid Noongar. And Guilderton, especially the river estuary, has always been a focal point for them, for their meetings where they discuss their law. And we respect them, and we actually invite them to join in with so much of what we do.
I think that these awards would help that respect come about by, again, everyone working together towards the goal.
Absolutely, it's another excuse to get together and have a celebration, and we invite everyone to it.
Sounds good. Linley, Albany won the Heritage and Culture Award in 2015. Now, I believe certainly everyone would recall that one of the big parts of 2015 was the Anzac Centenary commemoration in Albany. That was huge. But what other projects contributed to the win in Albany?
Yeah, certainly the Anzac Centenary for Albany was a springboard for them to embrace lots of new projects. And the locals in Albany are really proud of their connection to the Anzacs, and they got everyone involved. We talk about community partnerships again, so everyone got involved, and there was a lot of things going on. There was the town revitalisation project, the development of the Heritage Park, and on top of that they also embraced their Indigenous culture, built some boardwalks and interpretive signage around the 7,000-year-old Noongar fish traps at Oyster Harbour. So a lot of work going into many different projects there.
Amazing. How old was that again, the fish trap?
6,500 to 7,000-year-old fish traps.
Incredible.
Yes.
And we're, on the one hand, we're celebrating a centenary, but then also recognising a culture that goes back thousands of years.
That's right. Albany did it really well, so that's why they were a very worthy winner.
Amazing. Litter prevention and waste management is what most people think about when they think about tidy towns. Judges look for community and local government engagement in litter pickups, frequent adequate collection of litter and recycling, followed by appropriate disposal. They also highly regard the innovative use of recovered resources and education programs in the community. Greg, you told us a little bit about the fun that comes with collecting litter in your community. Now, Toodyay is a state and national winner in litter prevention and waste management. What projects have led to that success?
Well, thanks for that question, Chuck. Yeah, that's really probably our jewel in the crown. And the need to reduce litter in our community was what really inspired us to get a Tidy Towns Committee and a Tidy Towns movement happening in the community. There were a number of individuals and some community groups already doing litter pickups, but we felt we needed to ramp it up. And fortunately for us, our local community, Bendigo Bank, came on board and offered sponsorship to community groups to get out there and adopt a spot. And this proved to be highly successful. We had nearly 25 or 26 groups put their hands up to get a small amount of money each year for doing regular pickups at a designated location around the community within the town. But it started to gather momentum, and it's proven to be tremendously successful. And it's inspired other members in the community to get out there. We have an individual in our community by the name of Peter Robinson who goes out almost every day picking up rubbish, and so far he has clocked up about 650 bags of litter picked up just himself alone. So you can imagine how effective it's been when the community groups get out there. So we're very proud of that Adopt a Spot, and you can really see the impact that it's had. But it works in very nicely also with our waste transfer station. And for a small community in the wheat belt, our waste transfer station probably punches above its weight. Mm-hmm. It recycles a whole range of different substances. They don't require a fee or any record of the visit being made to the transfer station, so they welcome all the bright orange bags of roadside litter coming in the trailers and utes. And we've also engaged with neighbouring shires to get our roadsides picked up. We late last year we did a major roadside litter pickup with Northam, and so that partnership was really good to get the Northam Toodyay Road cleaned up, and it was a huge effort.
Fantastic effort. It sounds like there are people coming together in Toodyay and beyond to pick up litter. Now, speaking of litter, Gillian, it seems like every bin in Guilderton has a Keep Australia Beautiful Bin It sticker on it. What's important about promoting that message?
That goes back to when we entered Tidy Towns. That would have been in 2013, and a member of our community, Madeline Henshaw, actually got all those stickers from Keep Australia Beautiful and stuck them in all the bins. But it's amazing when you get a lot of visitors, they come for the day, they enjoy the beach, they will just drop their litter within such close proximity to the bin. So hopefully that is encouraging them to go that extra step and just pop it in the bin.
Do you find that perhaps the locals, by putting those stickers on, maybe might encourage the tourists to put their rubbish in the bin?
That's the idea, because it's the locals who pick it up if they don't.
Sounds good. Ryan, can you tell us about recycling in the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder? I believe you've got a recycling program there as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a pretty relatively recent program. It started in 2007, but yeah, we're really proud of it. It is challenging living so far out from the nearest metropolitan centre. 600 k's is a long way to transport everything, so there are logistical challenges. But you know, we are really proud of it, and we do try and engage with the community as much as possible to educate people on the importance of recycling and recycling correctly as well. So we run public tours of our materials recovery facility there, and we're constantly engaging with them through media and other channels to make sure that they're educated and know why it's important to do the right thing. So
even though it's a recent development, do you find that the people of Kalgoorlie-Boulder have embraced recycling?
We do have some challenges. It's a transient population, so people come in and they're not necessarily quite sure what can and can't be recycled. So it is an ongoing process to make sure that we're educating people as much as possible. But yeah, for the most part, they do the right thing, and there's a lot of people really passionate about recycling. I mean, we went into schools just last year, and we're giving out little bins through Keep Australia Beautiful, a grant that they gave us, and the feedback from that was fantastic. All the parents were over the moon. They loved the bins. The kids went home and they were like the recycling champions of the household, and the feedback we got from that was really fantastic. The parents loved it, and the kids were really on board. They really embraced it, and it's great to see the next generation stepping up and being ambassadors for recycling.
We've heard now 3 excellent examples of communities coming together. Linley, earlier you mentioned about the collective impact that this is having on litter in Western Australia. Now, why do you think it's important why should we even bother? It's a big state.
Yeah,
there's lots of space. Why
absolutely.
worry about the litter?
Because WA is a beautiful state and we want to keep it clean. We know that litter is just plain ugly, but it's there's more than that. We know that litter is a danger. So broken glass cuts children's feet. Fishing line entangles our wildlife. Plastics choke our waterways, and cigarette butts, which are a real danger, cause wildfires. So we really need to be out there making sure that, one, we are collecting the litter, but also educating the locals about the dangers of the litter. And as a judge, going into towns and seeing communities passionate about this is inspiring, and I love it.
And it shows from all of you today. Your passion for these awards is fantastic to see. The Young Legends Award recognizes environmental achievement by young people under 25 years of age. Toodyay won the Tidy Towns State Young Legends Award in 2015. Here's a clip from Inclusive, Not Exclusive, a film produced in support of that submission. inclusive, not exclusive. What a fantastic video, everybody. Wasn't that great? I mean, seeing that whole community come together, all the young people being included, I mean, that's one of the, again, we keep talking about the benefits that these awards have for your whole community, and I think that was an example right there we'd all agree about, and probably reflects things that are happening across all your communities.
Yeah. The great thing about this one is that it's a youth program led by youth for youth. So you've got a young person engaging the disengaged youth and getting them involved in really great innovative projects and ideas.
And then using these awards to celebrate that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Greg, how important do you think it is to have young people involved in your community projects?
Well, it can't be overstated. I think if there's one single part of Tidy Towns that stands out, that is youth engagement, because if we can't get the message across to the next generation, we're fighting a losing battle. And the youth engagement programs we've had in Toodyay have proved very successful. Toodyay, for a young person, doesn't necessarily have a lot for them to do. We don't have a swimming pool, for example, so during the long, hot summer holidays, we have to keep the kids occupied. And the inclusive program engages with a whole range of children, not only sporting activity and craft activity, but we've also had them out in the school holidays during the winter, planting trees, trying to impart an environmental message as well. And I really do think that message is getting across.
Gillian, you mentioned earlier about the tourists that come to Guilderton, and Guilderton would attract a lot of young people, especially in the summertime, who must head straight to the beach or go out on the Moore River. How is your community promote engagement with young people in these environmental activities?
You're right. Guilderton draws a lot of children during the holidays. It's such a safe environment. The river, when the sandbar is formed, is totally safe. There's a lot of schooling that goes on, kayaking and canoeing, and just teaching children how to engage as much as anything during activities. The Guilderton Community Association holds regular cleanups. I'm going back to cleanups here, but we do engage a scout group and a cadet group, and we organise camping for them and make a weekend of it and have a great party with a sausage sizzle at the end. We also invite school leavers to a barbecue and a meet the locals, and this has worked so well because when school leavers first came to Guilderton, there's nothing very much to do, so they would hook up rubbish bins onto the back of their cars in the middle of the night and just run amok. Whereas by inviting them to come along and realising that they're coming into a community, we've had no problems whatsoever.
I think we would think of Guilderton as perhaps an aging community, but it sounds like you're embracing these young visitors that you do.
We do, as much as possible. We would love to have young residents within the little township, but that's not terribly possible because there's no schooling.
But when they do come to town, you're engaging with them and working on together.
Absolutely, as much as possible.
Linley, can you think of any other youth-led environmental projects which have been successful lately in these awards?
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of judging Port and South Headland last year, 2015, and they have a range of projects where they get students in taking part in their turtle monitoring, their dune rehabilitation, their reef monitoring. I really loved a new initiative they had last year where they had some of the disengaged youth sewing bags for orphan joeys and doing artwork and design work on those. And they were going out to carers, and then of course their reward was to meet a joey, maybe feed a joey, and that was really great. You could see that they were really interested in that. I also really liked that the local youth were involved in the construction of the new skate park. So the skate park was being built, and they were invited to take part in every stage of that process, the location, the design, the artwork, and even the launch and opening of the skate park.
I'd like to meet a joey. Can I take part?
Absolutely, you might be a bit older for that though.
Bit too old for that project. Ryan, when the national judges visited Kalgoorlie-Boulder, they saw school children planting trees. And the Kalgoorlie-Boulder Urban Land Care Group has a great outreach program for school children. What are some of the long-term benefits you see for getting young people involved in projects like this?
Yeah, look, again, KBOG have a great track record of engaging kids, engaging that next generation to really hammer home the message of sustainability. And they have a junior land care program that teaches kids the importance of looking after the natural environment. And they do a great job. I mean, it's a really important role, and making sure that those kids are learning that stuff at a young age, and really getting involved hands-on. It's great stuff. So yeah, we made sure that when the judge came up, he saw that this is the kind of stuff that we have going on in town, and that KBOLG is a really strong proponent for that. So yeah,
and that's what judges love to see. So fantastic.
Some tips here from a judge.
Absolutely.
What they're looking for. Thank you. Ryan, Kalgoorlie-Boulder also excelled in the National Environment Sustainability category and won for Water and Energy Conservation Awards at the state level this year. Can you tell us about some of the energy projects that have impressed the judges?
Yeah, look, this one's probably closest to my heart. I'm really passionate about energy projects and working on energy efficiency and renewable energy. So I think it's something that the city's done really well in recent years. We're busy building our fifth large solar PV system at our airport. We'll have 3 systems over 100 kilowatts. We have the largest council-owned solar PV system in the state. And our Oasis Recreation Centre alternative energy project is actually a cutting-edge, world-first project. It has ground source heat pumps that have both a vertical and horizontal ground heat exchangers, which is, to our knowledge, the only one of its type in the world. So we got some great assistance from state and federal funding for that, but we managed to execute that project really well, and it's up and running and saving us a lot of money, and reduced our natural gas consumption at our rec centre by 70%. So it's huge savings and huge environmental benefits. Not to mention on another front, where in the entire region we're leading an LED streetlight replacement project. So some of these shires that are involved in the project, they don't have the manpower to run these kind of large scale projects. And through the regional organisation of councils that we have out there, I've managed to, with the city, manage that project on their behalf, and we're replacing 3,000 streetlights across the region in a size basically the same as Victoria. So a huge project, and again, really good environmental and financial benefits to the region and individual councils. And when councils save money, that means they can put that money back into the community with other initiatives. So yeah, it's been fantastic. I think energy is one of the things Kalgoorlie-Boulder has done really well lately.
So Kalgoorlie-Boulder is a real innovator in this space.
Yeah, you could say that, I think, definitely.
Gillian, can you tell us about Guilderton's Carnaby Cockatoo environmental projects? I've heard good things about that project.
We all love the Carnabys. They're such iconic birds with such a big personality, and they really are in a pretty desperate plight. You tend to see them in very large numbers. We, in 2014, counted 647 Carnabys coming into roost, very close to the golf course in Guilderton. People see them in those sort of numbers and think that there can't be a problem, but there is. They don't roost with us regularly. That year, I think they'd been pushed up by some fires in Yanchep, but they are always flying over, often in large numbers. We have a lot of acacias and chert trees which they feed on, and the community's been very proactive in planting every year Carnaby feed species, and that I think helps to draw them. They make an awful racket, but we love them.
This community is really looking after the wildlife.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Excellent.
It is a community of environmentalists, very much so.
And not just in engaging with visitors to the community of the two-legged variety, but the winged variety as well.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I'm very proud of them.
Greg, you've been involved with land care for about 16 years. If you could choose just one environmental project that has made a difference in your town, what would it be?
I think when I looked at the community and saw things that needed to be improved or changed, litter and waste management was one, and the other one was environmental degradation. We have the Avon River flowing I use that word reservedly, it's not flowing at the moment, but it runs through Toodyay and it forms a very important part of our environment and indeed our history. But unfortunately, the river, along with the surrounding landscape, has been subject to a lot of environmental degradation over many, many years. So there's community groups and like-minded people who set about to try and redress some of those problems, and revegetation is one of the ways we can help address the environmental issues. But I'd have to say that the one that stands out in terms of environment and environmental sustainability is our litter and waste management, because that is something that everyone in the community can get involved in. Everyone has the opportunity to do recycling, curbside recycling, and do it on a day-to-day basis. Environmental tree planting and restoration is usually the preserve of people that are really passionate about that. But the waste management and the litter control measures we've put in impacts on the whole community, and everyone can get involved in that. So that would probably be the project I would choose.
I guess in a sense, we all generate waste, so we all have a role to play in taking care of picking up that rubbish.
You put that very well, Chuck. Yeah.
Excellent. Linley, environmental sustainability must be a passion of yours today. I mean, we can hear that in your answers as we're having a conversation today. Now, you have volunteer experience with the local wildlife rehabilitation center. I believe you work as an education officer with the Department of Parks and Wildlife. How important do you think it is to educate others about protecting and enjoying our unique flora and fauna here in Western Australia?
Yeah, look, it's absolutely so very important. Education is a key to a healthy environment, without a doubt. And I'm very, very lucky to have a job I absolutely love, because I get to spend all day with young kids taking part in environmental projects and teaching them why we're doing that. So I'm very lucky for that. When we go out to towns and judge them, for the Tidy Towns judging, we also encourage the towns to educate others about what they're doing. So if you're doing an environmental project, why is it that you're doing that project and what are the outcomes? So we encourage that through newsletter articles or radio announcements and so forth. So absolutely very, very important part of all our sustainability projects.
Excellent. The Environmental Education Award recognizes an outstanding initiative, organization, or community for its involvement in environmental advocacy and awareness programs across any and all criteria. Let's take a trip to Exmouth and find out what they're doing in the environmental education area.
Creek, there are a lot of different animals that you can see while on the creek and walking through the trails. You can see kangaroos, rock wallabies, birds and emus, and from the top of the creek you can even see some turtles and fish in the river. And it provides a different perspective to when you're actually in the water, and it's really amazing to look at. There's a lot of special things about the Ningaloo Coast World Heritage Area. There's quite a few beaches along the coast, some really amazing ones like the one behind us. The ranges are really beautiful, and there's areas like Yardie Creek. One of my favourite experiences bushwalking in the area is going with my family up to Mandu Gorge and hiking with cousins up from Perth who have never really been in this kind of area, and just showing them what Exmouth has to offer. In the Ningaloo Coast World Heritage Area there are a lot of different species of fish and wildlife, and because this is such a popular area for fishing, we really need to watch how much we're taking from the environment to help preserve it for the future. The turtles nest and hatch in the area, and there's a turtle rookery on the coast, which we have the green turtles, loggerheads and the hawksbill turtles. In 50 years' time, I'd like this area to remain pretty much the same as it is now, which is like a natural area where there's lots of different animals and plants to look at.
Wow, some fantastic initiatives happening up there in Exmouth. Well, I think we'd all agree with that. Do you find in your communities, is there that passion for exploring and telling others about the environment?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing, and when we visit towns, that when youth are engaged in the environment, they're out there enjoying nature, that they learn to love it. And as soon as they start to learn to love their environment, they want to look after it. That's really important.
Yeah, I mean, Kalgoorlie-Boulder's on the edge of the Great Western Woodlands, which is the largest intact Mediterranean woodland in the world. And not many people, I think, know too much about it, which is a real shame because it's such an amazing part of the state. And getting kids out there and getting them on the trails that exist out in Kalgoorlie-Boulder and teaching them about the different elements of the Western Woodlands and all the different biodiversity, and it really instills that sort of sense of conservation and the importance of conservation of the natural environment. So.
And that's one of the benefits in these awards is, I think for most of us, I would be guilty of this myself, think of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, well, we think of the super pit.
That's right, yeah, and there's a lot more to it. I mean, it is a beautiful part of the state, and people like Kim Eckert from Kabolg and people within the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, we're always really trying to emphasise, that sense of making sure we keep our natural environment really beautiful and pristine, and do that in tow with mining in a sustainable way. So more to Kalgoorlie-Boulder than just mining, that's for sure.
And so these awards really for all of you give you a chance for your community to recognise the work it's doing that maybe just goes on perhaps a bit under the radar, and until you come together to put in an award submission, you don't really have a chance to think about how much good work is happening out there.
I think the important thing is that it creates the opportunity to really acknowledge all your volunteers. We all get on with our own work individually, but for Guilderton, winning Clean Beaches has brought all those groups together, and we've acknowledged them and congratulated them, and that was a wonderful outcome.
Now, Gillian, in addition to the Australian Clean Beaches competition, you won the environmental education category as well in that space. What was involved in that?
Quite a lot. How much time have you got? Guilderton is such a beautiful, pristine coastal environment. The local residents are fiercely defensive of this, and we really do battle with the influx of visitors, anything up to 4,000 a day at peak times. We promote Guilderton and the Moore River as an environmental asset, and we do this with so much passion that we find that many of the visitors actually take up the message and promote it. We have done a few things to help promote this message in very close partnership with Moore Catchment Council. We have a wonderful series of environmental interpretive boards which are distributed fairly widely along the Moore River and at various vantage points. We do notice that tourists do stop and read these. We've also spent a lot of time looking after our fragile dunes and revegetation, as Greg was talking.
It sounds like the passion for all these projects becomes infectious. We wind up, one section of your community may take up this particular project, but then the young people get involved, the tourists get involved, and it really does flow on, doesn't it?
Passion is the word. Passion and engagement.
Mm. Now, Linley, I believe you judged Guilderton some years ago. What impressed you about their education initiatives?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of visiting there in 2013 and was just really overwhelmed by how much they embrace their tourists. They don't have a choice. Their numbers swell in the summer seasons and they welcome them with open arms. And by doing that, the tourists then feel like they're part of the community and they get a sense of ownership towards the town, and then they want to look after the area as well. And that's what Guilderton does so well. They educate their tourists and they welcome them, and you can see that's been real success for them.
It's fantastic to hear. Greg, you have a lot of outstanding young people leading the way in Toodyay. What does Toodyay do for environmental education?
I'm happy to say I think we do a lot, and just picking up what Linley had said earlier on about if you value something in your community, particularly the natural environment, you're more likely to want to protect and preserve it. And the way to do that is to get an educational message across. So we've had 2 or 3 pretty proactive environmental community groups in Toodyay which have worked pretty hard to connect the community to the natural environment. As I mentioned before, we have the Avon River flowing through the entire shire of Toodyay, but In fact, it wasn't really accessible to the community. Most people turned their back on the river. Whereas what we've tried to do is create ways to get people to understand and enjoy that environment. So we've created a series of river walk tracks which have interpretive signage and facilities like picnic shelters and seating, etc. And we've produced educational brochures and information. And I'm happy to say that this has not only turned out to be a great asset for the community in terms of tourism and visitors, but you often see a lot of the local residents and the kids at school holiday time particularly walking along the river track, sometimes riding a motorbike, which I'm not that happy about. But nonetheless, it's generally very much respected, and it gives them an opportunity to get out and read the signage, appreciate the environment, learn about the bird life and the wildlife along the river, and perhaps begin to value it more as an environmental asset. And we're certainly seeing that effect.
And then perhaps the next time you come out, you won't do it on your motorbike.
That's correct.
Excellent. Ryan, can you please tell us about environmental education provided by some of the Aboriginal elders in the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder?
Sure, Chuck. Like I was saying before, I guess the Karkula dreaming guided tours are really fantastic. They run in conjunction with KBOLG and some of the Aboriginal elders in the area, and it's a really important way for them to, I suppose, engage with the community about their culture and about the heritage around that. And they teach kids about the bush tucker out there, bush medicine, some of the names that the plants have, the Aboriginal names, and the connection with their culture. So it is really fantastic, and they do a great job. It's a great thing that exists out there, and long may it live.
I think with all these awards and all the categories, you'll agree that there's tremendous benefits that come to your community from putting together award submission, regardless of whether you become a national winner, like we've heard from today, regardless of how you finish in the competition. There really is benefits for the community in taking part in these awards. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's definitely a competition, but that's not the most important part of it. It's the fact that every project has an outcome, so every town wins from taking part.
And we've heard a number of examples today of how the communities come together, different elements in the community come together in these projects, and that's certainly a benefit for any community.
It would be very enlightening to any community to enter a Tidy Towns competition simply from the fact that they will learn more about their own community, what is going on, which they don't often hear about. But you get all those projects and activities and bring them under a Tidy Towns submission, include them. Most people would be really amazed what happens in their own community. I know it was an eye-opener for many people in Toodyay. They had no idea of all the great work that was already happening until it was brought together into a Tidy Towns submission.
And I think the recognition that you can get from an award, even just being a finalist or being involved, it is a really powerful thing to educate the community as well. It's one thing to say that you're doing all these good things, but people take it a little bit more seriously when it's someone else that's recognising you for your hard work. And I think that's one of the greatest benefits of being involved with something like this, is to really spread the word with the good things that are being done in the community. So.
And getting that recognition for your community would be
a
tremendous uplift, wouldn't it?
Fantastic, yeah.
And of course, it's easy to enter, and if you do want to enter, by all means, have a go. I think we've heard today about the tremendous benefits that you get from entering. It is easy to do so. If you've got any questions or if you want some more information, go to kabc.wa.gov.au. That's kabc.wa.gov.au. All the information about these awards can be found at that website. And of course, the awards would not be possible without our sponsors. Keep Australia Beautiful Sustainability Awards are supported through the WA Waste Authority through its Landfill Levy Fund. The Department of Environment Regulation provides administrative, logistical and policy support to the Keep Australia Beautiful Council of Western Australia. The Australian Tidy Towns Awards are sponsored by the Australian Packaging Covenant and the Federal Department of Environment. Cliffs Natural Resources plays an active role in contributing to community life through a range of sponsorship programs and social initiatives. The Water Corporation is constantly looking for new ways to source and preserve our precious water in Western Australia. In ensuring sustainable management of water, the Water Corporation is a proud supporter of the Tidy Towns Awards. The Department of Regional Development works closely with communities throughout Western Australia to build and support strong and vibrant local communities. Western Australian Regional Newspapers is proud to be involved with these awards and to be telling your story so that everybody in this great state knows about your efforts to environmental awareness. Tourism WA promotes Western Australia as an extraordinary holiday destination. Its focus is on attracting visitors to WA through marketing, events, and supporting the development of significant tourism infrastructure projects. Tourism WA is a proud sponsor of the Clean Beaches Award because the state's reputation as having some of the cleanest and most pristine beaches in the world is a very important tourism drawcard. Let's not forget, thanks also go to our panel members today. Thank you to Gillian Lamont, Greg Warburton, Ryan Wilson, and Linley Brown. Thank you to all of you. Congratulations to entrants who are helping to make WA a great place to live and invest. And I think you all agree today, have a go is the important thing. If you're out there wondering, should I enter these awards? The answer is yes. By entering the awards, it's easy. There's numerous benefits for the community, and we've heard some great examples today. If you've got any questions, by all means, email or phone Keep Australia Beautiful. Western Australia has the unique experience of going to the 2016 Australian Tidy Towns Awards in March this year, as Toodyay is hosting the event. So make sure you save the date. That's the 17th and 18th of March this year in Toodyay. Now, panel, thank you very much again for all of you coming in today and sharing your experiences. It's been fantastic to hear about all these tidy town, sustainable cities, and clean beaches projects happening throughout Western Australia in communities large and small. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching, and good luck with your award submission.